Today, we're going to show you how you can use the BioLite in the wind and in the rain. As you can see, we got rain clouds out there and it's been raining for a while. It's nice now, but it's windy. So let's get down there and let's get this BioLite going. So the Pine River Nature Reserve is not actually open to the public as of yet. It will be in a couple of years. I've been fortunate enough to be tasked with the preservation and the protections of these lands, so I'm actually allowed in here at the moment. But if you look it up and you find it, please stay away until we actually have the chance to regenerate everything here and mark the trails. So I wanted to show you your first tip. One of the things you want to do is you want to look for pine trees or things that have dense overhangs, because as a general rule, you're still going to find that there is dry stuff underneath, just like this. And you can see it's quite dry and it will light. So I've walked out to one of the main paths here so that you can see that it has actually been raining quite heavily here. One of the real tricks with using your BioLite when it's been raining this heavily and stuff is to look around, because even though it's rained really heavily, unless it's rained for like a week or two straight, generally there is still dry stuff available somewhere to light. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go on a search to find some dry stuff and some kindling and stuff. All right, so we're going to go off the path here now. I believe that right down in here will be a great place for it. We'll set it up, we'll get it going, and we'll cook a little food. So like I said, you can always find kindling and so on and so forth when you're under the trees. So if you look up here, it can be raining as much as you want, but you will find some dense areas where there will be dry leaves and dry twigs and so on and so forth. So for instance, right in here, you can see we've got all kinds of leaves underneath here. I can feel that some of these are dry. We're going to go a little further in to find some leaves that we can use to start things with. So just feel around, you'll find them. So there's one, there's two. I wanted to mention that another thing you can do is BioLite sells wood pellets, but I also just get normal wood pellets from anywhere. It works fine. And you can use a little bit of wood pellets to actually start the fire with. And that really makes a world of difference. But I prefer to avoid it if I can when I go out, because I don't really want to carry the wood pellets. But if it looks like it's going to be a very rainy week, I will definitely take some with me. And that really helps out a lot as well. Okay, so we're going to unpack the BioLite now. I'm going to get my lighter out of here. And we're going to open up my pack and get the BioLite out. So here's the BioLite. And let's just get it all set up now, okay? So one of the things to always keep in mind is that when you want to light this up, you got to keep in mind that it is an open burning flame. So you don't want to be near sticks and stuff and things that will actually catch fire. So always find a clear spot. And one of the other tips is if you want to get out of the rain and the wind, you want to make sure that you stay in a sheltered, enclosed area like this. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to just basically put some leaves inside of here so it starts up, and we'll put some kindling in there. I'm going to grab some of the stuff from over here. Another tip is that if you find dead trees, it'll snap off quite easily on them, and you can just get all kinds of kindling. So if it's dead, it definitely will work. The other side is that these things will dry out quite quickly, so you don't really have to worry too much about it. You do want to make sure that you take as much dry stuff as you possibly can though, because otherwise it's just not going to start. So let's start it up. Oh, let me get my lighter first. So let's light a twig and start some of this stuff up. You want to turn the fan on so that it actually gives that a chance to go, and I'm going to push some of it down a little bit so that it actually goes down into all of the kindling and everything, which it's down in there now. And you'll see in a minute that we will have a fire going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to collect some more firewood so we can start actually burning all this stuff. Okay, so now you can see that the fire is actually going. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put some more kindling and stuff in here so that we can get it going well. And then we're going to cook some food. Let's just let it get going. So as you can see, starting a fire or the BioLite in the actual in the rain and the wind is really not that hard to do. So I just started up the fan so we could stoke the fire, and you're going to see in a moment that this is going to start right up. And it's as simple as that. You just simply come out into the woods, you collect your wood, you grab a few leaves, you light it using a little twig or something, and then you let it go. And you can see it works very, very well. So any of these videos that you're hearing that it's hard to light and so on and so forth when it's windy or rainy, it's just not true. You just got to think about what you're doing. So now let's boil some water. Okay, that camp stove is really going well now, so we're going to add a little more in the way of twigs and stuff to it. So here we go. And in a minute, we're going to be able to boil up some water and start it going. What we're going to make today is we're going to make some chicken curry stew. All right, we got enough water in there now. Let's put it on. Put the lid on, and we'll be good to go in a little bit. So one of the things you may not realize about freeze-dried food while we're waiting for this to boil is that you can freeze-dry pretty much anything you want. So you can see here, like I said, I've got chicken curry stew. So this will be boiled up lickety-split, and then we're going to make this chicken curry stew, and I'll show you what it's like after it's all done. I usually just eat it out of the bag, but for the sake of this video, I'll dump it into the bowl there so that you can see how it all works and stuff. The other thing to keep in mind while we're waiting for this to boil is always keep your handles to the back towards the power pack. If you do not do that, you are risking actually melting the handles, and then you can't pick it up, and it just becomes a big mess, and you'll burn yourself very badly. This is getting close. I'm going to crank up the fan just a little bit to make it go a little faster. There we go. That'll boil it a little bit faster. Okay, so I would assume it's probably boiled by now. Let's just take a quick peek and see. And yes, indeed it is. So let's add it to our chicken curry stew. You can see those flames are really going now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of water to this. Just like that. You can put this back on here and let it burn out. Like I said, always make sure that whatever you're doing, it is in an open space, because if it's not, you're going to pay the price for it. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a couple of minutes. Another tip for you is that should you have leftover wood, like I do, always set it off the side underneath the tree for the next person that comes along. That way it's dry and it's easy for somebody to find something. Okay, so this should be done by now, and we should be able to eat it. So let's get our utensils. I believe they're actually hanging on here, aren't they? So we've got them inside of here. So I'm just going to grab my spork. There's your spork. I'll take the lid off of this if I can. Flip it over, and if you look, there is some real yummy chicken curry stew, just like any other meal. That's the beauty about all this stuff. So as you can see, the BioLite actually works really, really well. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that when you empty the BioLite out, it's still going to have ashes and so on and so forth. So what I usually do is I will dump it into a little pit like I'm digging out here, all the ashes and the hot embers, and then I'll take some of my water and dump it over top of it as well. So just like so, you'll see I've just dug a little pit here now, and the BioLite is pretty much done. We have to wait for the fan to turn off, and once it's turned off, we'll dump the embers into that little pit. Okay, so the BioLite has turned itself off, so I'm going to take the embers, as you're going to see in a moment. I'm going to dump them into there. just like that, okay? So that we've got, you can see that it's still warm and everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of my water and I'm gonna fill it up and I'm gonna douse that so that it's completely soaked and all embers are drenched. And then we're gonna cover it back over with the earth that we dug up and then stomp on it. So here we go. So I'm gonna dump this onto here, make sure that it is completely extinguished, just like so. And then I'm going to take the earth and I'm going to scrape it all back on top of it, just like this. All right, just like so. And then you're going to stamp on it. You're going to stamp it down, make sure that it's nice and juicy and moist and everything. And there it is. And now you know that you're not going to start a fire. So I hope you've learned a lot from this. And I hope you realize that you can actually get these things going in the wind or the rain no matter what. So have yourself a good day, and I'm going to finish my meal.